the Amazon News, we're gonna talk about today Bolivia, so it's important to know where it's located. It is in the South American continent, in the west central part of the Andean. So it is surrounded by 4 countries. It is landlocked, so it not has water around it. It is surrounded by Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Paraguay, and Peru. That's 5 countries. What about his history? The history of Bolivia is so important to understand his actual situation. And it's important to know that in the 16th century, the Spanish colonizers arrived and imposed to the indigenous people all his tradition, all his language, all his religion, everything. And the important thing is that in the indigenous, before the colonization, they were over an Inca Empire. The situation of the indigenous people when the Spaniards arrived were reduced to slavery. So they that create a stratified society and with income inequalities from the beginning. The important thing to know is that the second decade of the 20th century emerged a lot of movements, socialist movements, and a populist opposition that is MFR, Nationalist Revolutionary Movement. And this movement, composed by mine workers, Indian mestizo, and middle class mestizos, made armed takeover in the 1952. This finished in the presidency of Extensor. So in the decade of the 60s and the 70s was a military regime in front of the situation of the precarious economic growth, because the government thought that the better decision was a mayor control, even since from the military sector. And so after the period of repression came a period of a greater crisis in the country. In the 1980s was a really bad period for the country, and that's why Suazo arrived to the presidency. He tried to negotiate with the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, but it was not possible because of the market, and the foreign debt was hilarious, was really high. After from the decade in the 1980s and the 1990s, Panzer was the president. But now, with Panzer in the presidency, is really worried the situation about the coca market that increased, that had expanded in that time, and this produced a lot of movements and protests from the farmers that was making this. And the last thing in the history that is important to know is the change that occurred in the 21st century with the election of Evo Morales. Why? Because this allowed to the country to change the way to carry the politic aspect, and it was like a decentralization state, and it was better for the indigenous people. Actually, it's a unitary social state, and in the 2009 became into a plurinational state, and it is important for the history too. The thing is that right now the president is elected every 5 years, and he create a cabinet. The administration is a regional administration, so every department has a different legislature. Other thing is that with Evo Morales arrived a new way to see things, and the important question here is that Evo Morales nationalized the industry and make a lot of laws about the corruption. So the next thing to know is the religion aspect. And Bolivian population is multicultural, so they are Catholic, but at the same way they are Aymara or they are Quechua. So the thing is that they are abandoning Catholic traditions, because they are recovering that ancestral rituals, that traditions and beliefs, and they are mixing them. So it is important because they are not completely Catholic or completely indigenous, but they are mixed of them. Gonna see the education aspect. What about the education in Bolivia? The thing is that the public schools are really poor about quality and about the furnishing, about classroom materials, so it is worrying because it has not to be like that. Another thing is that the indigenous people has less rights about this, because the rural people and the indigenous people has lack education access. I mean, 4 years of the higher education, the students has 2 years in the same way, but the last 2 years of that part of the education, of the higher education, is particular because they can decide if they are graduating with a degree in humanities or in the technical fields. And the Ministry of Education has made a lot of adult literacy centers in the urban areas, and this is important to the education part. Other thing is the sports item of Bolivia, of Bolivian country, and it is important to know that soccer is really important for Bolivians, because they have a tradition too about that, and it's go to see a soccer game on Sundays particularly. And other thing is like they are sports like rappelling or like rafting. Rappelling where there are mountains, and rafting where there are rivers or in the tropical areas. We can see too rural games like trompo or palo de cibao, and they are traditional and they are used to be present in the traditional days. And the holidays are important. The 22nd of January, they are celebrating the Plurinational Foundation Day. So another thing is that they have a lot of holidays, because they are celebrating everything. They are celebrating like National Protected Areas or United Nations days even. So it's interesting, and we have to see that you must visit Bolivia if you want to share with them. Also another typical days like the Carnival in Oruro, that is between February and March, and it's a really interesting carnival. It's really beautiful to see the way they are dancing and they are expressing that pre-Columbian culture. Another thing that we have to know is about the population's characteristic or the population's general facts. So first we have to know that there are four groups, native groups: Quechua, Aymara, Chiquitano, and Guarani. So they are the four principal native groups inside the country. The three official languages are Quechua, Aymara, and Spanish. So they are mixed. Another thing is that the 55% of the population is Amerindian. The 30% is mestizos. They are mestizos, and the 15 they are white. Also, there are a lack of clean water, so that has provoked the health problems into the rural people of the country. They can access to the biomedical care, so it is worse. And another thing is that employment is really difficult too, because the people has to migrate to another countries to get work. What we must know too is about the typical food in Bolivia, and we must know that the diet is rich in carbohydrates, so it includes like potato, legumes, maize. Another thing is the chuño, that is freeze-fried potatoes, or the charqui, the charqui, and to the maize beer, that is the chicha. So it's traditional and is used in cultural celebrations. Another thing is about the health. They treat the illness with coca leaves, alcohol beverage, and to the guinea pigs. So I want to invite you to visit Bolivian country because it's really beautiful. It has many touristic places. Between them is La Paz, that is the second highest city in the world, and it's Oruro, it's the Salar de Uyuni, that is the most beautiful place that I've seen in Bolivia. Is to Potosí, is okay. I want to show you every each of them. So in La Paz you could find great museums and art galleries, and it's about Bolivia, and it's so beautiful to see it. It's Valley of the Moon, that is really beautiful too, and it's a recommendation. It's recommended to climb. It's something about the Valley of the Moon. In Oruro you could find the carnival, that is with ethnic dances, and it begins always like with the diablada or devil dance, and it's a representation of pre-Columbian culture. So if you want to know how was the population before the Spanish colonizers arrived, you could visit Oruro in February or March. Also you could find the Salar de Uyuni, that is, all the structure is made of salt, so it's really beautiful because the sky is reflected on the floor. And also in the Potosí you could find a colonial architecture, and especially in Sucre you could see how was the life of aristocratic Spanish people when they arrived to colonize Bolivia. They are there to